So in this video I explain what is an apse and what is apsidal distance and apsidal angle, and also I prove that at an apse the velocity is perpendicular to the radius vector. At the apse, velocity is perpendicular to the radius vector. That we prove. First of all, what is an apse? For that, consider the central orbit. Suppose O be the pole, OX is the fixed line. What do you mean by central orbit? Central orbit means it is a plane curve. If a force moves under the action of the central force, then the path traced by the particle or object is a plane curve, and that is called the central orbit. Now I take this P is a point on the central orbit and join OP, then coordinates of P are r theta. Suppose then OP is equal to r and this is theta. Now we consider the tangent at this point and draw the perpendicular. Then this is taken as small p. What is this? Length of the perpendicular from the pole to the tangent at the point P. What is an apse? Apse is point on the central orbit where the radius vector is either minimum or maximum. So what is this apse? Definition important, may be asked. Define apse and apsidal distance, or define apse and apsidal angle. What is an apse? Apse is a point on the central orbit where the radius vector is either maximum or minimum. Radius vector drawn from the center of the force. Center of the force is usually pole. It is taken as force. Radius vector drawn from the center of the force to the point is either maximum or minimum, and that point is called apse. And what is apsidal distance? And this distance of a point or distance of apse. You followed what is apse? Apse is a point on the central orbit where the radius vector drawn from the center of force to that point is either maximum or minimum. Suppose P is apse, then the distance radius vector drawn from the center of the force to an apse is called apsidal distance. Suppose there are two apsidal distances. Suppose P and Q are the two apses. Then the angle between these two apsidal distances is called apsidal angle. So what is apse? Apsidal distance and apsidal angle. Now the important result is, we take this as theorem. Theorem is, at an apse, radius vector is perpendicular to the tangent at the point on the central orbit. At an apse, radius vector drawn from the center of the force is perpendicular to the tangent at that point. We take this as a theorem. Very important result is this. Theorem is, at an apse, the radius vector is perpendicular to the tangent. At an apse, radius vector is perpendicular to the tangent, or at an apse, the direction of motion of the particle is perpendicular to the radius vector. Alternatively, can be stated like this: at an apse, direction of motion is perpendicular to the radius vector. Correct? Say, therefore, the statement is like this theorem: at an apse, the radius vector is perpendicular to the tangent, or at an apse, the particle moves at right angles to the radius vector. How do you prove this? We prove this using the equation of the central orbit. What do we prove here? What is the theorem? At an ellipse, radius vector is perpendicular to the tangent. For that we prove that at P be the suppose ellipse, then we prove that OP is equal to, that is R is equal to small p. Because what is small p? Perpendicular drawn from the pole to the tangent to the curve at the point P. If P is ellipse, we prove that small p is equal to R. That is the proof. For that, by definition of an ellipse, at the ellipse or at an ellipse, I take P, R theta is the ellipse here. At an ellipse P be the ellipse, R is either maximum or minimum. Therefore, U is 1 upon R is either minimum or maximum, because U is reciprocal of R. 1 upon R. Therefore, if R is either maximum or minimum, therefore what is U? Is minimum or maximum. Therefore, du by d theta is 0. Because you know that by using derivatives, first derivative is 0 at the maximum or minimum. Now, small p be the perpendicular from the pole. Pole means center of the orbit is taken as pole. P be the perpendicular from the pole to the tangent at the point P. This P is different, this is different. This is small p. It is length of the perpendicular from the pole to the tangent, and tangent at the point capital P. At the point capital P, whose distance is small r. Then we have this result. We have 1 upon p square is u square plus du by d theta whole square. Am I correct? Refer to this one. Many times we came across this result. 1 upon p square is u square plus du by d theta whole square. Therefore, 1 upon p square is u square, because du by d theta is 0. I write the p by this. If P is the perpendicular from center to the tangent to the curve at the point P, then 1 upon P square becomes u square plus du by d theta whole square. Many times we have used this result in this topic. In the derivation, first we have used in the derivation of central orbit in the pedal equation. You go to that one and you will get this. 1 upon p square is u square plus du by d theta whole square. So 1 upon p square is u square, because du by d theta is 0. It is 1 upon r square, because u square is 1 upon r square. So p is equal to r. So at an ellipse, what is ellipse? R is maximum or minimum. Radius vector is either maximum or minimum at an ellipse. Using that, we have u is either minimum or maximum. Therefore, du by d theta is 0. Then we have, if p is the length of the perpendicular from the pole to the tangent, 1 upon p square is u square plus du by d theta square. Therefore, since du by d theta is 0, 1 upon p square is u square. U square means 1 upon r square. What does this imply? Small p is r. So at an ellipse, the radius vector is perpendicular to the tangent at that point. Or at an ellipse, the direction of motion is perpendicular to the radius vector drawn from that point to the pole. Now I consider one or two examples here. Example is like this, I dictate. Take this. If the law of force is P is equal to mu by R raised to 5. Sometimes the law of force is taken as P. But we have used throughout this topic, we have already used the law of force as F. But some author may take law of force as P. Here law of force is taken as P. P is mu by R raised to 5. Show that the path is a circle. Path is a circle. Here central orbit is in the, what is that? Central orbit is in polar form. Therefore, if we find out using this law of force and using the differential equation of the central orbit, if we find out the path, it will be in polar form. And in the polar form, circle is R is equal to A cos theta. That is circle. Therefore, circle means we will get the equation of the path as R is equal to A cos theta form. Therefore, it represents a circle. We conclude like this. Now, I start with this. The differential equation of the central orbit is d2u by d theta square plus u is equal to what is that? d2u by d theta square plus u is p by h square u square, correct? P by h square u square. This is the central orbit. Instead of F, we have to use P here. Now, therefore, substitute P here. What is P? d2u by d theta square plus u is equal to mu u raised to 5, because it is mu u raised to 5, because 1 upon r is equal to u. Mu u raised to 5 by substituting value of p here. This is mu u raised to 5 h square u square. Therefore, d2u by d theta square plus u cube remains, correct? U cube remains. d2u by d theta square plus u is mu by h square into u raised to 3. This is the first step. What is the problem? Law of force is given. It is given by mu by r raised to 5, and we have to find out the equation for the central orbit, and we proceed like this. It is the differential equation of the central orbit in the polar form, and substituting value of p we get this. Now, this is differential equation. To get the expression in r and theta, what you have to do? You have to integrate, because reverse process of differentiation is integration. We have to integrate, and we have to obtain expression in r and theta. For integrating, we make this exact differential. For that, very important step in all these problems, while integrating, we make these exact differentials. Multiply both sides by 2u du by d theta. This is important. Or only 2 du by d theta. Multiply both sides by 2 du by d theta. We get d2u by d theta square 2 du by d theta plus 2u du by d theta is equal to mu by h square u cube 2 du by d theta, multiplying by 2 du by d theta. That is important step. Now what is this? This is d by d theta of du by d theta whole square. You can verify, because what is d by d theta of du by d theta whole square? 2 du by d theta into differentiation of du by d theta is d2u by d theta square. Now what is this? plus d of or d by d theta of what is this u square is equal to this. Now integrating we get du by d theta square plus u square, du by d theta square plus u square is 2 mu by h square u raised to 4 by 4 plus constant of integration. Take this as 1. This as 1. I think I followed all these steps here. Important thing is we have multiplied by 2 du by d theta, then it becomes, this becomes d by d theta of du by d theta square, this becomes d by d theta of u square. So integration means integration reverse process of differentiation. So integrating this d by d theta cancels, you will get du by d theta square plus u square is this. Now what is the constant of integration c? We choose c such that it becomes 0. Choosing du by d theta is 0 when u is 0. When u is 0, choose du by d theta is 0. Therefore, u is 0, du by d theta is 0. We get c is 0. From 1, c is 0. Therefore, 1 becomes du by d theta whole square plus u square is equal to 2 mu by h square, correct, 2 by 4 or 1 upon 2 mu by 2h square into u raised to 4. Now we take this as a square u raised to 4. Mu by 2h square is a square because it is a constant. Mu by 2h square is a constant. Take that as a square. Therefore, d2 or du by d theta whole square is equal to u square into a square u square minus 1 by taking transposing and taking common. Therefore, du by d theta is, it is u root a square u square minus 1 taking positive root. Therefore, separating variable, we get only u and theta are variables here. Du by u root a square u square minus 1 is equal to d theta. Now integrating again. For that we take au is equal to sec z. This is the substitution. Au is equal to sec z. We have to integrate here. Integrating we get au is equal to sec z. Therefore du is equal to 1 upon a sec z tan z dz. Sec z tan z dz. And it becomes integral 1 upon a sec z tan z dz divided by what is u? Sec z by a square root of a square u square is secant square z minus 1. Secant square z minus 1. And this cancels, and secant square z minus 1 is tan z. Integration of dz is equal to z plus c1. But what is z? Z is, or we take theta because it is theta plus c1. We add constant in the left hand side, constant of integration. And what is integration of d theta? Theta plus c1. Therefore, sec inverse au is theta plus c1. Therefore, au is equal to sec of theta plus c1. Theta plus c1. Therefore, what is u? 1 upon r. So 1 upon r is 1 upon a sec theta plus c1. Sec theta plus c1. Right? Therefore, what is sec theta plus c1? Sec is 1 upon cos. 1 upon r is 1 upon a cos of theta plus c1. Sec is 1 upon cos. So r is equal to a cos theta plus c1, and this represent a circle. So this, if the law of force is given by P is equal to mu by r raised to 5, then the central orbit is r is a cos theta plus c1, and this is the polar form of the circle. Therefore, the central orbit is a circle. And you try to solve some more examples from this, and I referred dynamics by Rai Singhania, and dynamics by P.N. Chatterjee, and dynamics by M. Ray. 3 books I have referred. You go through that 3 books. If you have any difficulties, you can contact me. And this completes the topic central orbits. Next, one more topic is left in dynamics. That is, what is that topic? One more topic is left. That is impact. That I consider in the next video. I start impact in the next video. Thank you.